October 2022, Kailua Kona in Hawaii. I was there at the start line of the Ironman World Championships. It's something I'd built up to for 18 years. I tried to qualify outright, and in the end, I got a slot. I was awarded a slot just because I'd done so many races. And there I was, and I'd spent the whole year preparing for it. I'd even spent a month in Hawaii to acclimatize to the heat. The swim went really well. The bike was exactly as went to plan at 5 hours 50, under 6 hours, which was my target. And to start with a run, I was feeling really good. But then at 25 kilometers, I started to feel a bit weird and I slowed down. And at 35 kilometers, I collapsed. The first chapter in my book tells a story of what happened next. I stayed on the floor for 40 minutes. Somebody gave me some salt. I was able to stand up again, walk to the next aid station, jog, and then finish. Now that sounds like a heroic story, but as my book, Ishi, The Discipline of Determined Intent, explains, it was dangerous. So I didn't know how to govern myself. I knew how to persist. I'd learned over the years of endurance racing how to continue even when the going gets tough, but I didn't know how to exit. And that was a dangerous moment for me. The problem with intent is when we set it, we often don't know the conditions in which it's going to arise. And so the decision needs to be governed because as conditions change, we need a way to modify that intent. Also, most of the decisions we make are not our own. It's either through peer pressure or through social norms or habits, or more importantly and more recently, through algorithm. I can guess that very few people make the conscious decision to doom scroll for 2 hours, yet many of us do it, me included if I'm not careful. And I see that as a problem in today is intentionality and how we manage our decisions and our intent. The next problem is how we reflect back. So when we've made a decision, how do we reflect and understand, was it a good decision, irrespective of how the outcome was? And it's called resulting. A good decision may cause a bad outcome, but because it's a bad outcome doesn't mean it was a bad decision. And vice versa. You may have made a poor decision and were lucky and had a good outcome, but that didn't make it a good decision in the first place. So the essence of my book and everything I'm talking about on Substack and on this channel is about self-governance, because persistence without governance can lead to self-harm. And that's what Ishi is. That's what the Ishi spiral is. Ishi is Japanese for determined intent. It's thought that leads to action, action that is thoughtful. It's in the heart knowing exactly what you want to do, discovering what your intent is, discerning from all of the things that you can do down to a few things that you will do. And then making that commitment and making the first move, the bias to action, to actually make the action upon that commitment. And that's why the kanji of Ishi has thought, and I, which means the internal resonance, and Shi, which is the action, or the samurai or the warrior, both rooted in kokoro or heart mind. So that's what Ishi means, determined intent. And the Ishi spiral addresses the four failure modes. Firstly, our decision hygiene and how we manage that decision and how we govern ourselves. Secondly, deliberate practice. Thirdly, the persistence and how we govern persistence, either to continue with grit or to exit when intent is no longer valid. And finally, effective reflection. And I've used 4 Japanese words for this, which is Ishi, Shugyo, Gaman, and Hansei. Once a week, I will go into more detail about exactly what I mean and what I've discovered with this model and how it can be applied. The next presentation I'll make will be on the Ishi card, which is a physical governance artifact for you to write down what your commitment is, what your intent is, and how you govern that, and then how you're going to reflect back at the end. So my ask for you is to follow me here on YouTube, on Substack, or on my LinkedIn page, or go to leanpub.com/Ishi Dodi, which is Ishi, the Discipline of Determined Intent, or search Ishi on Amazon.com. I have a book out. It's the first of a series of books, the next being Kaizen of the Day. And for the next few months, I'll be talking all about the book, the depth behind it, my personal stories in Ironman and in how I've worked in technology companies. And what I want to bring to you is a model of personal governance over the long arc where you can achieve excellence through deliberate practice and reflect back upon your intent. Thank you.